Okay, well, we've talked a lot about the technological side and the things that we need to educate people about, and that's both the trades and, of course, the customers, the consumers. But I think it's probably about time we started talking about people. We started talking about employees and customers. And last year, one of our delegates in the audience stood up and asked several pertinent questions of some of the speakers on stage, and it was always people-focused, and I thought, I want that guy on stage next year. So please welcome to the podium Mr. Andy Savva, the Garage Inspector.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. Thank you. I'm an independent garage man, yeah? I've been for most of my life. And most of you in this room, or some of you in this room, will probably have been a competitor of mine before. Because your fast-fit businesses have had to evolve and adapt to offer more than just tyres and exhaust as they were 15, 20 years ago. So you've evolved and you're providing services like MOT, servicing, repairs, air conditioning, geometry, and everything else. So, you know, it's a big battlefield out there. Now, I'm going to give you a stat. This is a very, very important stat. And I bet you no one in this room will know about this stat because they've never measured it properly in their business. In all the visits that I've done in all my life in every single garage, there's only one garage in the UK that's actually making any money from their labour. And the only money they make throughout the year is from their parts margin. So they're actually working for nothing. It's quite striking, that is, especially when you start going into other arenas, you know, when you see the kind of technology that Neil was talking about now. So it's a really, really important stat to actually think about. So no, you're actually, most garages, well, every single one apart from one, doesn't make any money from their labour because they don't factor all their costs correctly. So without profit or lack of profit, there's a lack of investment. And with that lack of investment, you cannot be successful for both your staff and your customers. So I'm going to give you in a very short 15-20 minute take what I believe are really important factors for you to have any chance to succeed. And the first, for me, is a vision from the leader. So I was a leader, sometimes I was a manager. And when I talk about vision, I'm not sort of referring to some blue sky ideal that sounds great or bears little relevance and practicalities to how you're getting there. And you have to be realistic with your vision, and it has to be a practical one, because otherwise you won't get support from your staff and your customers. And you have to base your vision on thorough understanding of where you are now, and the knowledge in your industry, in your particular sector, and the differences that lie between. And I'm going to show you what my vision was. And this became part of our ongoing communication and recruitment process. So when you got a contract of employment for me, you got that at the beginning. Because I wanted everyone who come and work for me to understand what I was about and what I wanted to achieve. And it's really damning when I go into businesses and I ask technicians or service advisors or people who work in a garage, what's the boss's vision? They have no idea. So if they have no idea, what chance have you got to succeed? Very little. But you have to mean it. It has to come from the heart. And you have to explain it. It has to be ongoing all the time. So that was very important for us. Now, another element of having a chance to succeed is actually having a strong set of values that go a long way to underpinning successful businesses. They give colleagues, as I call them, and customers a sheet anchor, something that holds their position and keeps them from being smashed against the rocks when you get caught in a storm. And values govern how business behaves and how it sees its important factors and how it deals with problems. And again, my values, one by one, became part of our recruitment process. Every single one that you see here. Now, our vision statement was everywhere. Our values were everywhere. So you were constantly reminded when you worked for me or worked with me, that's what we're about. And it gives people confidence that they know where they're going to be, what we're going to try and achieve. And also when consumers come in and they see that, it gives them confidence that, you know what, we could be in the right place here. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of pics now, which some of you may be surprised, some of you may recognise, some of you may think, gosh, some of you may laugh. But this is what I see in most places that I go to. Okay? So, believe it or not, this is a retailer, so a franchise dealer. Okay? So, this is an independent dealer. Okay? This is another independent dealer. So this is the norm. This is what I see. Yeah? And I could stay here all day showing you many others, but I don't have the time for that. So you get the gist, all right? So if this is the norm, in order to support my vision and to give the consumer and my colleagues something different, I wanted to be the polar opposite of that. And that's what consumers usually see. So how can you be productive and effective and charge the right labour rate for your services if you offer things like that? It's impossible. So one other important aspect was to actually find out what consumers really wanted from a garage before I started Brunswick Garage. So I'd arranged several focus evenings, and I invited loads of different groups, and I asked, because I really wanted to find out about what they really thought, not what my perceptions were as a garage owner, what I was going to provide them. Let's ask what people think about garages, how they perceive us, and let's see what information we can find out. And this is what I found. So this went on for about 3 or 4 months. Often not fixed first time, 1 in 3 vehicles are not. We're supposed to be professional. So imagine that stat. Every 1 in 3 cars that go into any garage, whether you're a fast fit, whether you're a retailer, or whether you're an independent, will not come out of that garage repaired first time. I'll put a question mark on professional. Often invoice doesn't match what was first quoted. There are many reasons for that, and I can speak to you about that all day, but I don't have the time. But just think about how many times you think you've quoted someone, and yet that changes throughout the day because of lots of reasons: lack of skill, wrong diagnosis, wrong part, incorrect fitment, whatever it is, it changes. Never ready when originally promised. How many times have we given a quote and a time of repair, and it never ever gets done? So this is what I found from consumers. Lack of invoice explanation. This came out massively. For a consumer, they thought that the time that they wanted to be treated fairly and be convinced of the repairs that needed to be done were when they were departing with their money. And when I go to most garages and I see a counter, it drives me up the wall. I want to hit my head against the wall. A counter is a barrier. You can't sit down with a consumer and explain that invoice properly. Dirty. Well, we've seen those before. Trust came out. Trust. Wow. A lot of the lady drivers came out with trust. So people say, why should we treat women differently? We shouldn't. We should just explain to women and males, young, old, the same. They're not silly. Everyone's the same. Honest. Does it really need to be done? Does it really? Or when the repair goes wrong, we have to ring up and give them some other excuse to change another part because we've got the first diagnosis wrong. So all these things gave me the evidence that I needed to go and start Brunswick Garage. To be the polar opposite of what my focus evenings, my investigation told me. Now, that was my workshop. Now some of you here, a handful of you here, would have visited my workshop because we did something completely the opposite of what most people do. I started in 2010, the biggest recession this country has ever seen. And I started off with a labour rate of £90 an hour. And people thought, it's impossible, you're never going to be successful. And I said, yeah, watch this space. Within 5 years, we went from a zero turnover, because that was a purposely built workshop, to £1.5 million. We were selling nearly £800,000 of labour alone. And I only had 7 productives. Only 7. This was my reception area. Polar opposite of what I showed you before and what I'd seen in the past. This is my staff room. This became part of our recruitment process. So when I used to recruit, I'd take them to the staff room first and say, let's go and make a cup of coffee. And when they used to walk in, I'd say, shit, it's better than my house. Of course. Because, and then my next act was to say, so yes, because my staff are the most important people in this business. So how does that make them feel? Straight away. And then we'd go and have the coffee in the training room. So we were one of the very first garages to ask Schaeffler to come in and do the DSG clutch replacement training. One of the very, very first. So we split the team into 2 and we did our training. So that was our training. All these factors add weight to you and give you a chance of being successful for both your staff, your colleagues, and also your customers. So we did things the completely opposite way to everyone else. When everyone went left, I decided to go right. I had a vision, I had strong values, and I still do. And I provided an environment for my staff to excel, and the support cycle for them to excel. Very, very important. Now, I want to touch on a few of my automotive moments. So forgive me if you're going to be in this little part of it. We have fully skilled staff and technicians. Or are you looking for these people? So let me start with the first one. When you see what Neil's just showed us with their technology, how can you be fully skilled? Yet people still use it as part of their advertising and marketing. You're deluded if you do that. You live in a world that doesn't exist. You can never be fully skilled in this sector. Even going back 15, 20 years, you can never be fully skilled. So why we use that terminology? And when you're looking for these, they don't exist. Because it should be an ongoing process. Training should be a habit. It should be part of your business plan and your vision. Okay? Another moment. We have a fully equipped workshop. Really? Really? Same as the first one. Now, I had a very, very well-equipped workshop. I had a BMW Mini toolboard, £28,000, a VAG toolboard, official diagnostic equipment license from the manufacturer, but I still didn't have everything. It's impossible. So you have to make a profit to invest continually in your staff and in your facilities to enable them to produce quality first-time work on time. This is the biggest one for me. Now, I want to ask you, you have to participate now, very quickly. Put your hands up if you've ever been part of a process of recruitment. Recruiting a technician, a sales advisor, anyone. Most of you must have. You can't say you have. Put your hands up, come on. Let's have a bit more. Okay. So I guarantee you that most of you would have a capped salary for a technician, and in most cases you would offer them a bonus. Alright? And when you put the ad out, it's 10 pages long, with bullet points of the skill level and the aptitude that you're looking for that person. And then you have the job responsibilities. You probably need a degree to understand it and recognise it. But you're only offering £28,000, but guess what? If you really succeed, you can get 40. Well, what would happen if I said to you, I was that person? I had all of those credentials. Would you give me the £40,000 straight away? None of you would. But that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. So when everyone was doing this on the left, I was going the opposite way. It is the most draconian way to incentivize anyone in the motor trade, regardless of what sector you come from, by giving them a salary, a small salary, and then topping it up with a bonus. Because in most cases, the bonus cannot be achieved because the technician is not in control of many aspects of how he can produce that work. He's not in control of it. There's many things that need to come together to make that successful. It's a myth. Get away from all of that. All my techs got £40,000 a year. No bonus. I pay you to do your job. I trust you. Do your job. Most of the time, meeting these targets is out of control. Yes? Recruitment advert, 5 pages long, looking for a scientist. Do these people really exist? And if they do they meet the criteria? Are you looking, and why are you paying the salary and bonus in the first place? Why? And if you're capping the salary, you're after the same people that everyone else is after, that revolve around from one person to the other for an extra hour off or an extra £500 here. When I paid my staff 20-25% more than they were getting if they had the right sort of credentials. I don't care about the extra £5,000, £6,000, £7,000. Never worried me. And in the end, I never struggled getting people. In actual fact, people were throwing CVs at us to come and work for us because of the whole package. So just remember that. Now, this is important for me. The last one, lack of training and coaching. We've seen the technology that's out. God forbid, the skill level. I bet you most of you in here who have operations struggle to find staff. Because every garage that I go to is the biggest problem. Well, we've all got to take blame for it, because it's inherent over the last 25, 30 years. What have we done as business owners to try and attract young youth, retain youth, and train our staff? We've done nothing. We've done this much, yet we're the ones to moan first. So we have created the problem. And it's frightening to think about the technology that's at now. And we don't even have the skill level to work with cars that were made 10 years ago. It's frightening. And yet we use terminology like fully skilled, fully this and fully that, and we're professional. Are we? Sometimes we have to stand up and think about what we're really saying and doing. And it is a difficult industry. We know that. But let me tell you something. There has never been a better time to run or own an independent garage now. And I will do it 10 times over again. Little demand for excellence. Everyone, come and get me prices. Thinking that that's the only way we can attract consumers through the door. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work. We're giving things away. We're earning no money. Our margins are reduced. Why are we in business? Is profit a dirty word? No, it's not. Be proud of what you do. Justify it. Explain it. Final thoughts. I can't tell you everything in 20 minutes of how I achieved my success, because I'm sure Stefan's going to have a right go at me. It takes a lot of courage to release the familiar and seemingly secure and embrace the new. But that's how humans are. And perhaps the most important discipline of all in my recipe for business success is accepting that I have to change to succeed in business. And getting better and improving was an obsession of mine, and it still is. And I wanted to be at the top and stay there. And I laughed at those garage owners that were constantly wondering what my magic ingredient was. And this often meant they were spending less time on their business and trying to find out what I was doing. There was no magic. We just did everything better than anyone else. I wanted to be stretched, be bold and daring. My goals had to cause excitement and perhaps a little fear. And putting the customer and your colleagues at the core of everything you do is crucial to your success. And it was to mine. However, this simple basic is often misunderstood by many businesses, especially in the automotive sector. I wasn't afraid of making a few mistakes, along the way. It's how real life works. And misfortune and mistakes knocked me back, let me tell you, many times. But I kept moving and looking and turning the next page. And that's what I did with Brunswick Garage. And I encourage you to take some of that away and look at your businesses and your staff and your facilities and the terminology you use. And I hope you have the successes that I did. Thank you very much.
Take a seat. You have got the X Factor. Please take a seat.